Hi everyone. It's nice to see you on YouTube. I'd like to talk about myself, and firstly, I should introduce myself to you. My name is Hannah Lucy Schultz, and I was born in Deutschland, in Germany. Exactly in Frankfurt was I born. And because I was born in 1999, so I'm 22 years old this year. But anyway, my mother was 76 years old, and this year she was dead. Actually, I'm the first daughter of my mother. It's so. My mother is so old, and for my mother's age, I'm a little younger. But it's a little hard to explain. But anyway, the reason that I talk about my mother is because I was kidnapped in Korea in 2017 because I wanted to take my mother from Korea. Yeah, yeah. At that time, my mother was kidnapped. Firstly, at that time, my mother was kidnapped in Korea since I was 5 years old. And this year, my mother was kidnapped in Korea for 52 years long. In 2017, I have tried to take my mother from Korea to Deutschland so that I came here with my airplane, but at that time I was kidnapped too. Of course, I was working in Korea before I was kidnapped in Korea. For my mother, I had worked in Korea for Korean people because my mother was also at that time kidnapped exactly since I was 5 years old. And after so many works for Koreans, I had tried to take my mother from Korea at that time in 2017, exactly in August 2017. I had tried to take my mother from Korea to Germany so that I had been flight to Korea, probably to a province around the temple Kumsansa, where my mother was kidnapped. But not in Seoul, in a province around the Kumsansa, a temple. I was kidnapped too, and soon after I was kidnapped, I had lost all my memories, and then my nose was also lowered. My nose was lowered without anesthesia. Without anesthesia, my nose was lowered. But anyway, my nose was not was my nose is one line. It's not. It was not. It was not scattered. Anyway, my nose was kept in one line. uh, uh, yeah, although my nose was lowered without any anesthesia. Anyway. Oh yeah. At first time, when I was recognized that I'm originally a German, I tried to go home again. That time was probably October 2019. Before that time, I didn't know about that. I had recognized myself just as Korean. Yeah. But just in October 2019, I had recognized myself as a German. And as soon as I recognized myself as German, I tried to go home again, and I tried probably in many ways for myself. But now I'm trying to go home after a kind of thing was is made okay without any problem, and then I'll go home. Of course, I should go home, but anyway, my problem is not about just going home. I think we have a kind of problem together. We have a problem in common. Now the Korean people would go overseas, outside Korea, and then they will steal everything from another people and destroy their houses, their homes, and their everything of theirs. They are you. They are just you. They are not. Any fixed group at all. They are all of the people of another countries, except for Korea. So, except for Korea, all the people of all of the world would be stolen, destroyed, and ruined by Koreans. Although I should go home, but I could not stay at home at all. Whenever this problem would not be solved right now. Before this year is past. This year is passed away. Before next year comes, this problem should be solved, or the Korean people would go outside, overseas, from Korea, and then they steal everything from everyone. You could not believe it. I understand. You could not believe it, but while I try to go home in Korea, I have recognized many things of Korean people, which were hidden inside. Yeah, and they are not recognized, and they are not seen easily by another people. But anyway, they have hidden so many things from another people, and yeah. As you know, my English is not so good, and I speak so slow. But anyway, my face is not so good, and this video is not interesting at all. But anyway, you could see my videos just to some parts, not totally, not a whole video, just to partially you could see my videos. But anyway, from my videos, you should recognize how dangerous the problem is, huh? How severe is the problem is, that we confront right now. This is so that I upload these videos, although they are so coarse, although they are not so good. Nevertheless, do I upload my videos? My conclusion is that we have a problem of a disease. That disease is a sexually transmitted disease. The abbreviation is STD. The problem is STD, sexually transmitted diseases, and although we didn't know about it exactly, but there are so many diseases among sexually transmitted diseases. For example, malaria and Japanese encephalitis are not transmitted by mosquitoes at all. They are STD, actually, because mosquitoes die right after they sting another animals and another people. They could not carry blood inside their stomachs. They could not transmit any blood among animals and among people. Right after they sting another animals and another people, they die. That's all. So that malaria and Japanese encephalitis are not transmitted by mosquitoes at all, but they are just sexually transmitted diseases, I believe. And among sexually transmitted diseases, there are a kind of another diseases. For example, hepatitis B and Hansen, the disease Hansen, and Pest. These three diseases are also sexually transmitted diseases. Could I say about it? When I had plastic surgery in Korea, right after I was kidnapped in 2017, probably I had lost my memories, and simultaneously I had several operations of plastic surgery. My nose was lowered, and my lips were thicker. My lips were thicker. Originally, my lips were thinner, uh, thinner than now. My lips are originally not so thick at this time. My lips were originally thinner than now, and my lips were thicker too, and my nose was lowered, and probably, yeah, my teeth were also a little bit scattered. Uh, like a, at that time, my front teeth are uh, in line, in alternate, but my front teeth were protruding, have become protruding, a kind of manipulation of by the dentist, so that my mouth is now a little protruding. Not like Western people. My mouth was a little protruding, just like Asians. Anyway, a few things were made in my face. Probably mm, uh, just my eyebrows and my eyes were not made or not manipulated by Koreans, because I had made I had tattooed before 2017. A kind of tattoo do I have in my eyebrows and my eyeliner. Yeah. Here is a black line. Here do I have black line? On the upper side of my eyelid. On the upper side of my eyelids, do I have a black line, and also in my eyebrows do I have a kind of a few tattoos, so that my eyebrows and my eyes were not manipulated by Koreans because of tattoos. Anyway, and at that time of the plastic surgeries, I had lost so many blood, and the level of hemoglobin has become 4.6 or 4.5. It's so dangerous. It's so low. So I had transfusion of blood, and the blood type was not normal. The blood was the patient of the disease hepatitis B, because they had believed that I could have liver cirrhosis or a kind of liver disease because of the blood of hepatitis B. It's a common sense that the hepatitis B is transmitted through blood. But although I had gotten the blood of hepatitis B, but I had not obtained any hepatitis B disease. I was good. Probably I didn't have any hepatitis B, at least. I didn't have any hepatitis B. So the doctors, the Korean doctors, had thought about it so so odd, so peculiar. But anyway, Anyway, I didn't have any hepatitis B, although I had obtained, I had got the blood of hepatitis B. Hmm? When when the level of hemoglobin becomes 4.6 or 4.5, after I had lost so much amount of blood. Hmm? And yeah, just now, I I have recognized that hepatitis B is not about the liver disease. Uh, Generally, we think about the word hepa is related to the disease of liver. Hmm? Hepa is a kind of a kind of a kind of prefix of the disease related to the liver. But liver cirrhosis, the word liver cirrhosis doesn't have hepa. Huh? Hepatitis, in the word hepatitis, I had recognized that hepa is composed of pe plus pe plus pe plus ha pe plus ha. Think about the word hepa, H-E-P-A. The two words in the middle, EP. EP could be reversely pe. Pe is the first sound of pest. Pe is the first sound of pest, and in the four words hepa, we could find ha, the first two, and the fourth words ha. Ha is the first sound of Hansen. That means and next to the sound hepa, we could find a T. Fine, we could find a T. Hepatitis. The fourth word is A, and atis. We could find atis. Atis is a bit similar with atypical. Atypical means it's not typical. Then atis means similarly. Atypical. What does it mean? Hepatitis. What does it mean? Hepa could be a word related to blood cell. Does it right? Erythrocyte and hemoglobin. Right. Hemoglobin. In there, we could find hepa is related to blood cell, not related to liver. So we could think about that hepa plus atis is the blood cell is atypical. Then we could think two ways. One way is that we could have we could be A-type blood, or together at the same time B-type blood. Yeah, it's just to imagination. It's just imagination, but it's not a problem at all. Uh, if I have if I have got any in any emergencies, uh, A type blood or B type blood, any blood is okay. Then it's not a problem at all. But when I have a problem, then it could be related to leukemia because the blood cell is atypical. Because the blood cell is atypical, it could be related to leukemia. But leukemia happens when the people are so young. But hepatitis B doesn't happen when people are young because the hepatitis B is breaks out when people is old, not so young. When people is old, especially when the people have already Pest and Hansen together. When the people have Pest and Hansen together, then hepatitis B happens. Hepatitis B break out to the person. Although man is born with atypical blood cell, he or she doesn't have any leukemia when she is young or when he is young, but later whenever he or she has Pest and together Hansen, and then the hepatitis B breaks out to him or her, so that we add hepatitis B, not A, not C, B, because it breaks out later when she or he does have spreader later, Pest and Hansen together. Hepatitis B have been added with the letter B, not A, because he or she doesn't have leukemia when she or he is young. My English is not so good, but anyway, you could understand my words because I repeat many times. Because I'm not confident with my English, so that I repeat my English, that it could be helpful, so that you could understand my short English. Anyway, for STD, for sexually transmitted diseases, are malaria, and there are malaria, Japanese encephalitis, and Pest, Hansen, hepatitis B. With my personal experiences, I had gone through that hepatitis B was not transmitted by blood transfusion. I was okay just after being obtained with hepatitis B blood. Hepatitis B blood B was transmitted sexually. So it is not liver cirrhosis, just a sexually transmitted disease. Pest is a severe cyanosis. So generally, when a man has cyanosis, he looks blue. He looks blue, but when he has a pest, then he could look black. Huh? So it means the cyanosis is so severe whenever he or she has pest. Then with a severe cyanosis, not just his skins or her skins, together with his organs, with her organs are not so good. Heart could be dangerous, or yeah, naturally, of course, heart could be so dangerous. But anyway, probably kidneys could be so much dangerous than heart, because heart is of course related to blood, but anyway, a kidney has more delicate organized blood. Kidney is composed with so delicately organized blood, so that kidney could be more dangerous than a heart. So the cyanosis is severe than a normal state. Then kidney could be much more destroyed. So when a man has pest, then his kidneys could be destroyed together. When I was kidnapped, when I was kidnapped since 2017, although I was in Korea before 2017, but at that time I was free. After 2017, I couldn't go home at all in Deutschland or in the USA. Just in Korea I should stay since 2017, and there I had recognized myself as Korean, and I had met a kind of classmates in schools. There was a few misunderstandings, but anyway, when I was in the middle school, I had seen a classmate, a male classmate was so with dark colored skin. He was not like the southeastern people. His skin color was not the same with the southeastern people. His skin color was just like touched or pasted, probably as if someone has his skin painted with dark gray color, not black, just dark gray color. His skin looked with a dark gray colored. His skin color was dark green, dark gray. I'm so sorry. Not black, but dark gray. Just like with yontan, not coal, with yontan. He was painted or he was touched he was pasted. Huh? He was pasted just with yantan. Uh, Such a great color had his skin. Yeah. It was not like the southeastern people, and we just call him just as Sicamous. At that time, we had a comic dramas, sitcom dramas, a kind of a kind of gag dramas, Sicamous. So his colors like the color of the Schauspielers. And later in the university, I had met a classmate. She has kidney disease. She has renal failure, and her skin color was the same like the male classmate in my middle school. They are they had the same gray color their skin, a dark gray colored skin did they have, and the girl had a kidney disease, a renal failure, and I didn't know that at that time, but Pest is related to kidney disease because in the past a cyanosis is so severe so that not only the skin but also the organs inside the body, especially the kidneys, were ruined. The kidneys also destroyed because the delicate blood around kidneys could be easily destroyed with cyanosis. So Pest go together with kidney disease. So that there are so many hospitals or even clinics, like where patients could make their blood transmitted 24 hours all day long, even in the night. They could make their blood transfused all day long, 24 hours long are the clinics run, because there are so many kidney disease in Koreans. It's just so hard that I speak about my uncle. Because I could just assume that my uncle was related to my kidnapping. But anyway, my mother was kidnapped when I was 5 years old, and I was also kidnapped in 2017, and there was also my uncle. My uncle had a kind of a complicated story of his own. But anyway, He is a German. He is a German, and Koreans are uh, descendants of my uncle. Exactly, Koreans are originally German people. I would like to say about it. Koreans are not Asians. Koreans are from Germans. I'd like to say it. It's so complicated. But I could assume because just because of my assumptions, because I didn't confront that problem directly. But anyway, my uncle is related to the kidnapping of my mother and myself, and my uncle came to Korea with his descendants, and they are Koreans, and my uncle and the Korean people are all German. They are not Asians. Then why do they have so low noses? Why do they have the same faces with Asians? Because they have already passed. And together, Hansen. Think about it. In the past, the cyanosis is so severe, so the skin and the skin is black colored. It's so severe. It's also severe cyanosis, and with such a severe cyanosis, the organs, even the organs, are destroyed. And it's the end. Not now. No. Oh, after that, the blood or the organs couldn't be short of blood. And what could happen? Huh? With the shortage of blood, what could happen? With the shortage of blood, what could happen? When I tie my finger with a bandage of when I tie my finger with the rubber bandage, then the end of my finger couldn't have enough blood. The end of my finger or my fingertips couldn't have enough blood. Then what happened to my fingertips? What happened to the end of my fingers? Because of the shortage of blood, they could have necrosis. Because of the shortage of blood, they could be black colored, and then they could have a necrosis. Then with the past with the severe cyanosis, finally kidneys are destroyed, and skin look black colored, and then the end of body parts could have necrosis because of the shortage of blood. Just like I tie my fingertips with rubber bandage. And then what should I do when I have a necrosis with my end of body parts? What should I do? I should have a absolute bed rest because when I have a necrosis in my body parts, huh, then should I have a absolute bed rest? Uh, when I have a necrosis in any small parts of my body, then the neck the bad the bad cells or any bacteria, any bacteria or any bad germs could be carried in any parts of my body. So with that, I could have a sepsis. Sepsis is so dangerous because it is so fast. It could carry a bad germs or a bad germ or any bad bacteria to any parts of the body that we could die so easily with the sepsis. Then we should have on that absolute bed rest. But at that time, when we have any necrosis in any parts of our bodies, then we have, if we have Hansen disease together with the pest, then what happened? With the disease Hansen, the necrosis, the body part with the necrosis could be removed, just like being amputated. Although we didn't amputate any part of necrosis directly, but with the disease Hansen, the bad body part with the necrosis could be easily removed. It is a disease Hansen. So when a person has a pest, then Hansen follows him soon after the pest. So because pest go together with Hansen, because Hansen follows pest, so a man could live longer than expected. A man with a pest, then the end body parts could have necrosis at any time, then he could die so easily because of the sepsis. But without any sepsis, the disease Hansen follows the pest. So with the disease Hansen, the any body parts with the necrosis could be removed so easily, so that he could be okay with the pest, with the Hansen together. But at that time, under the situation of pest and the disease Hansen, he could have hepatitis B. And hepatitis B of adults under the pest and Hansen, and it could be not so good because of malnutrition and probably malnutrition and the shortage of hemoglobin. What is that? The shortage of hemoglobin. Anyway, he could look pale. He could look pale, and it is because of the shortage of hemoglobin, and the hepatitis B could bring about the hepatitis B could bring about malnutrition and pale skin. Yeah, it is the problem because Koreans have originally uh, bad intestines. For example, leaky bowel syndrome, leaky bowel syndrome, LBS, leaky bowel syndrome. Koreans have a bad intestines, so they couldn't eat so much. They couldn't compensate malnutrition and pale skin, pale colored skin problems. So it's a problem. It's a kind of problem. So although there are a few Koreans who look so a bit chubby or a bit thick, but anyway, inside of their clothes or inside of their masks, body masks, not just for face, but also for the body, they have masks. Inside the body masks, their bodies are usually so thin. Yeah. Anyway, it is so. It is so for the time. What did I say about Koreans? Firstly, I was kidnapped, and before I was kidnapped, my mother was also kidnapped. And firstly, I had tried to go home, but for now, the problem is not only to go home, but also to solve the problems of Koreans. It is a bigger problem rather than to go home, because although I could go home, I couldn't be safe. I could come back to Korea. Although I could go home in Deutschland, with the problem in Korea, then I could come back to Korea. Even whenever there is this problem left later on, so that I should solve the problem firstly before I go home, in order to be home more safely, in a more safe state. So this problem of Koreans is a bigger problem than go home. Although my English was so coarse, and but anyway, I hope you could understand my words. The problem is a kind of STD, and they try to steal and destroy another people and their possessions outside Korea and overseas. All the people except for Korea, all the people outside Korea, all the people outside Korea are all dangerous, are all in danger. I'm so sorry. All the people outside Korea are in danger together. Anyway, thank you so much for watching my videos. See you later.